Hello, I'm MP5 Deacon, and welcome back to F.E.A.R. So, sorry about this being a little late. I couldn't do much about it. Unfortunately, just things are happening and it's not working out all too well, but
Just doing my job. I'm doing what has to be done.
there we go. Man, Nortimate's just doing his job. I don't understand the dedication to the job, man. Like, at what point does the job become this important? I don't get it.
Fuckhead. He locked you out. The only way in is to divert power to the door.
Alrighty. Yeah, it really wasn't something I intended, and I do want to make new stuff, but, well, make consistent current releases, but things just have not been working out in the slightest, unfortunately. Which, it is what it is. I can't do too much about that. Just go around here, make sure we pick up all the extra little goodies. Yeah, but my hope is to get a lot more of this stuff done, get a lot more of it recorded and ready to go. At least for the next 3 weeks is really my whole deal. So next week I want to... I kind of forgot about you guys. No moving.
Check in. He's rushing. I need backup.
Uh-huh. Well, that's that cleared out. Let's go. Let's take a medkit and let's jump on down here and go grab our goodies. Yeah, just I want to have more consistent output of stuff, but again, things have just not been very favorable of that. Just the way life has been going. I try to. I mean, at the end of the day, this is really just a little hobby for me and something I used to really talk, because I know I'm not too good at that. I can be quite awkward in verbiage and just most of the times I can explain things and it just doesn't come off very clear or concise at all. And it's not really a case of me not knowing or being able to do it. I mean, if you give me something technical, I can explain it fairly simply and effectively. But just generally the way I think of things, my view, I struggle to put in ways that other people can easily understand or whatnot, and I can be a little bit complicated and complex with how I speak. So really, this is just a good way for me to practice that and kind of develop that skill a bit more. Next to just writing some various things and getting things out in a way where it can be more clear and concise for others. So, yeah, it's not too bad. But at the end of the day, I do also just want to be more consistent with this and continue doing it. I mean, I have my motivations and drives, but things just happen, and most of the time, it's not that I'm not able to, play the game or whatnot. It's that I'm not able to. This might be a little bit of a bad idea, because I know there's some people up there. I think we're done. Alrighty. But yeah, I really do want to, and I'm not necessarily happy with having
More info on Origin.
less work
Genetic
done.
reference they used for the program is apparently powerful psychic. Makes sense. If you want a telepathic commander, you need a telepath. Anna was a woman. It says here she gave live birth to the prototypes. Seems Wade wasn't characteristics were genetic. He figured there was a better chance it'd be passed along if the fetus gestated inside the subject. So they put her in a coma, made her carry a genetically engineered baby to term, then induced labor. It's pretty fucking sick.
Yep. Well, there's that little thing done, and now we're gonna end up back where the vents would have led us, which is the intended way. That's where you would be coming out of. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that things can't quite work out for the recordings of these. I do like how they give you a lot of penetrator here, but they also give you more of these heavier weapons, so we are going to definitely make use of that. Now this, from my understanding, does not kill on body shot for these guys wearing the red and white. I just kind of melted there. Really what I need to do is get out of the menu for this. Oh well, not too far back. Should be alright. Grenade! It is kind of fun just bullying them this way. I mean, there's not too much they can do.
More info on Origin. The genetic reference they used for the program was apparently powerful psychic. Makes sense. If you want a telepathic commander, you need a telepath. Anna was a woman. Says here she gave live birth to the prototypes. Seems Wade wasn't convinced the psychic characteristics were genetic. He figured there was a better chance it'd be passed along if the fetus gestated inside the subject. So they put her in a coma, made her carry a genetically engineered baby to term, then induced labor. That's pretty fucking sick.
Yep. Well, now we're back. I don't know why I necessarily listened to that again. I don't know. I do think I missed a... I don't know if I missed a reflex, but I definitely did miss a health. Because I do believe it is a flat 20 that you're supposed to be getting here. But we'll improve. I just need to remember to push Alt again. Come on, fire. There we go. And I think there might be one more? Yeah, come. That's unfortunate. Alright, 3 more chances. I did hit him. You can see, it looked like he was kind of limping there, I think. It's sparking. Neat. Yeah, it's okay. I didn't play too well there. Not very good execution by me. Very poor. Considering that this is the second record, you know what? That's why it's the second record. On the first one, I did absolutely excellently on it. 0 problems. Wonderful performance by me. I do think we'll probably pick up a new weapon here and replace the particle weapon. What's it called again? The particle type 7 or something? Yeah, I think so. So we can't do this because if you notice there's a box there. If we hit it, I'll be able to walk around before it finishes, I think. Pick you up. Do I get to see it? Yeah, it hits that and then it goes back and reattaches.
I figured out what a synchronicity event is. There was an incident where they lost control of Fettel. He just suddenly started freaking out. He was only about 10 years old at the time, but I guess he killed a few people. In the investigation, they discovered that there had been a telepathic link between Fettel and Alma, even though she was in a coma. They concluded that she was influencing him. That must have been when they pulled the plug on Origin.
Well, if it hasn't been spelled out enough for you yet, it's somewhat obvious. She's trying to influence us. I think that summarizes the point I'm trying to make there. I like the little dials here in the show the connection. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. Is it this way? No. We go back the way we came. Because that big bay door should be open now. Well, it's not really a bay door. That's the wrong... It's just a large door. It's not even a large door. In my brain, the door was the size of the pipes. That's just not the reality we're looking at here. Alrighty. Excellent. So, Will essentially as powerful as the particle beam. Well, it's a little less powerful. It tends to have a better performance, in my opinion, because you have the higher fire rate with it. So it just functions better. It's just a cleaner, better weapon in a lot of ways, because it's pretty effective at the same ranges. That brings me to something I do want to talk about a little. See, we'll trade the particle gun out for that. I plan. That's what I plan to do. Alrighty, so we picked all that up. It is, as I'm saying, like with the weapons, I really do enjoy their purpose and use, and how they feel, how they're designed. Because earlier I was kind of talking about how the SMG feels better than the G2, which is wrong gun, which is really just a G36 when you think about it. And it mostly feels better because the environments they're in is what I've determined. Because when you're using the G2A2, I think is what they call it, or is it the A1? Oh, there it is. Never mind, I didn't miss one. That means I didn't need to waste a medkit. Oh well. Can I not get stuck in the right one? Neato. 199? Why not 200? What? Seriously, game? Is that what we're doing to me? Such a shame. We'll get back to the weapons in a moment here. Do we?
First message from Genevieve Aristide. Harlan Genevieve, listen, I understand your feelings, I really do. But this is no time for sentimentality. If Origin is uncovered, every single one of us will burn for it. It's time we buried the dead, don't you think? Next message from Genevieve Aristide. Harlan, it's me again. If you want an apology, then I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. In any case, I want to be sympathetic, but the situation is urgent. I'm sending Mapes to take care of things since you seem reluctant to do what needs to be done. I hope you can find it in yourself to assist him. End of messages.
I don't know either how sociopathic she is, or just completely out of touch with reality. For her to be doing what she's doing, she makes zero sense. I don't know why she thinks she can cover anything up. And Harlan Wade, being kind of as messed up as he is actually trying to set things right, which is a weird little arc we have here with him. We're doing it. Make signal. Make it happen. Connect. Yay. But the rifle is a lot better in more open areas. So like in... Oh shoot. So in the beginning, in the waterworks area, it performs a lot better, in my opinion. that dude just got obliterated. I only hit him once there too. That was pretty sweet. But yeah, they perform better in the situation that the guns would practically. The SMGs.
You gotta find her before ADC decides to get rid of the evidence.
Oh shoot. I hate the drones. The drones suck. And the worst part about the drones is you can't stun them or put them in any phase. They're just better. Alright.
You have to destroy this facility before he lets her out. There are 4 pylons. Damage the reactor cells, and you'll trigger a chain reaction. Blow the whole place to hell, where it belongs. If he lets Alma out, you have to stop him.
I feel like Mapes sitting here had the realization that his work for his job is retarded. It's amazing he survived that long with the gut shot.
Signal. We may be out of contact from here on. Be careful of this Wade guy. God only knows what he's capable of.
Alrighty. The final chapter. I think. Or maybe there's one more after. I can't remember. But it's pretty much the end. I mean, we've been in the final act for a while. Now it's coming to term. They buried her very, very deeply. But yeah, and then the shotgun does better in close to moderate ranges, and it just performs consistently in those environments. Oh shoot.
You still don't know, do you? What you are. Why you're here.
Okay,
What's
nice
the first
spooky
thing
section.
you remember? What's your given name? Where were you born? You have no history. You and I were born from the same mother.
Thank you for spelling it out.
You must have sensed it. She cannot see in your mind, but perhaps you can see into hers. A life of waking from one nightmare, only to find herself deep in another. I will set her free.
Alice did not deserve that. Not at all, but she was just so retarded. I don't understand her reasonings at all, or why you would do that. I don't get that. It's not like she was aware of any of this and she had good intentions. Thanks for the ammo, Chuckle Nuts. Completely useless without their little controller. Honestly, I really do like the design of these guys. But the pistols, like, everything just has their specific use. The ASP rifle, when you first get it, it's not too rifle, yes. It's not too useful.
She was a very disturbed child. Terrible, debilitating nightmares, hallucinations, hysteria. She never had a chance at a normal life. It was Disler who realized she was telepathic. He speculated that she was extremely sensitive to the negative emotions of people around her. We removed her from that chamber only
Nice little Frankenstein point there, but I don't know, the story's kind of a little stupid in terms of like how the exposition and everything's laid out for us. I think we might end up just finishing the game here.
System analysis commencing.
But yeah,
I want to destroy her, but I think she's suffered enough. We put her in there 2 days before her 8th birthday.
Error. No life signs detected.
She died 6 days after we pulled the plug.
Release sequence complete.
This is how it ends. Ah!
oh no. Yeah, Alice didn't deserve any of that. Vettel's just insane, and we'll try to go and kill her. The body, burn it, destroy it. Yeah, the ending here is more cinematic, and I don't necessarily feel I care for it all too much. Like, look, the aberrations, they're in the real world. I don't know, this game always failed at its point, and the corporate story and all and the people in it, I think, are a lot more interesting than the horror aspect of it. The horror aspect's never really held to me all too well, I guess. It's the spooky game. But the gameplay for this is absolutely amazing, and that's what I'm getting at with the guns and just their design and the practical use of them, which you don't see in a lot of games where they actually match their purpose and their function. Like the SMG being better in the tighter corridors, the G2 being better in the open, longer areas, the ASP being extremely useful in kind of the beginning of what I'd say the third act is, I think, when you're out in the slums, the condemned buildings, fighting across the windows in the other buildings. Out of curiosity, can I just... No. Yes. It would have been cool if you could just blow it all up. I like explosions. But yeah, it's something where modern games, I think, could really take a lot from it, whether this was intentional or not. The implementation of the gunplay just feels and plays a lot better. And I would love to see that again, because I made continuous comparisons to Siege and then how it just doesn't feel good playing it. Like the leaning here, I feel like you're leaning your body and your head a bit. In Siege, you just cock your head to the side. You don't actually move your body. You get that feeling here, the way the shoulders move and the arms. And now we gotta run. This is not the right way. I may not make it. Anyways, welcome. Where? Oh, I see, I see. Welcome to the obligatory Metroid escape scene. Except not as cool. Yeah, this section of the game I could really go without. I mean, I like the escape sequence, but I almost would have preferred like a legitimate fight against Fatal and his minions. But yeah, like if tactical games were to kind of make weapons like that, where it's not just, oh, I need to think about the destructibility of a weapon, because that's really all you consider. And if you have an SMG for a secondary, you always use it because they're just better. Although the pistols are really decent in that game, though people don't use them as much as I think they deserve to be used. And now we can leave. Well, not quite. Because if you actually have to think about, okay, what map am I at? Where am I going to be playing on the map? And those decisions were to actually have an impact on how you would play the game and what weapons you would pick, as opposed to just, do we have someone who can open up sightlines? I think that would add a lot more to it, and having the destructive nature I like, but I think really, yeah, there was another. These are more story chapters than they are like game
I just picked up the
chapters.
signal. If you can hear me, get to high ground. The chopper is standing by.
We'll keep the SMG. I mean, is there really any reason to keep the explosives? Not really, in all honesty. But yeah, I honestly do think just making weapons useful in that manner, in those tactical games like that, would... Okay. Wait, was that open the whole time? Am I just retarded? I mean, maybe. Yeah, it was. Ah, to heck with it. The ghost just kind of... I've said it. Said enough. I mean, it was cool the first time I was playing it, but playing it again, it's just... This is the part of the game where if I wasn't doing it, I might just stop. It just really lacks. And you could tell by the way they're just giving you health that it was a little cheap with the placement and how they're functioning. But yeah, like, I really like the idea of weapons having more purpose and uniqueness to their design, and actually making tactical decisions with them, and those decisions being important. But, I mean, it's okay. It's something I'd like to consider, actually, which is what I call... Well, what I like to call the Skyrim effect. Where Skyrim released, and in my opinion, it's a less complex game than its predecessors. And I don't mean complicated, because the UI of Morrowind and Oblivion was more complicated than Skyrim, and what Skyrim really did is it had a much simpler UI that's a lot easier to pick up and a lot better to use. When you compare that to its prequels, it's a direct object improvement. There's no consideration about it. There's no argument. It simply is better than the previous games. But where I disagree is in the concept that Skyrim in itself is a better game. I think it has a weaker story. Its mechanics being less complex or a lot less interesting and kind of run out in a while. And Bethesda games always end up becoming walking simulators, and you have to carry all the MacGuffins and whatnot. And the idea of getting a house is necessary. You need the fast travel, but it's just those things are more annoying than they are
I've tried to forget.
enjoyable.
I've tried so hard to forget.
Where'd my other pistol go? By what? Right.
I've tried so hard to forget.
I never understood if this is us talking. Die, mother. Just because people were wrong to you doesn't mean you can be wrong to them. It wasn't right, mother, but you should have been better. You should have been better.
You were born here, in this place.
Oh, it's Fettel. See, I was always
I was
confused about that
there.
because he's dead. Or no, is it? I don't know. Yeah, I think it is Fettel's voice. Or is it mine? Headshot, 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 headshot. It wasn't enough. No.
I've tried so hard
Oh
to
my
forget.
gosh. It's nothing against you, mother. It just has to be done. I'm sorry you don't understand. There's a thing of right and wrong, and
You were born here.
most definitely your
This
actions do not
place.
make it right. We'll quick save here.
I was there. You will be a god among men. Take her back to the vault.
There we go. It is kind of more poetic, I guess, that Alice dies out of hatred because she got to live her life and Alma didn't. We're finally back. But yeah, if those games were to just, if the more tactical games were to implement weapons in that way and not just the, because it ends up where some SMGs are just the best guns in the game and the rifles tend to just perform better. I don't quite remember. Where I'm supposed to be going here. I think I'm just gonna go. Oh, well, we'll live. Somehow.
still don't know the extent of the damage.
We haven't been able to get through to anyone since the explosion. What about Alma? What happened to her? What was that sound?
I did think that ending's a little... You know, that when they were probably talking about it, they were like, we just have to do it. I can respect that. Yeah, this was something, the first time I played the ending, I enjoyed a lot more, but it's just going through it again, and it's just not that good. Definitely is a one-hit, one-time thing for it. But as I was getting to with like those games and just kind of how each generation almost, well, they're not quite generations, but you had 3 different groups of people that played Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, and each had different opinions on it. And I always believe that their one is the best. And that's kind of what I mean by the Skyrim effect, is the newer generation kind of experiences one thing, and they, again, not an actual generation in this case, but the newer player base experience one thing, and they're not quite aware of the details or aspects that were lost in the previous game, and not necessarily for the better. Like, I think a lot of the losses in Skyrim and Oblivion are generally for the worse, whereas if you had the improvements with the older systems, I think you'd have a much stronger game. As it is, neither of them really benefit from it, and I think it's the same way with this. Instead of companies, looking at games like F.E.A.R here, which does an excellent job with its gunplay and its fundamental controls, like the principles and how it works is great. If you were to take a lot of its ideas and executions and put them into more tactic games, along with the systems they already have and existing things, like with Siege, its destructibility, if you put in the particle effects in the systems of this game, make the gunplay a bit more like it in terms of the usefulness of the weapons, I think you get a very interesting and different game. And it's not that I'm asking that game to become this, but I'm thinking that the ideas that the people at Monolith brought out and all just really haven't been brought into other games. And it's a shame because it's honestly quite great. And I know there's Trepang too, which I need to try out. But a lot of games just haven't really picked up on what it did. And I think it should be a lot more foundational for its implementations than other things, because it really is a wonderful experience and just extremely great to play. And in its time, the multiplayer was awesome, but and that's kind of what I mean of a lot of the ideas here are just kind of lost. And it doesn't help that Monolith being owned by Warner, for example, the Mordor games they made, the whole system is copyrighted for the like reputation with the bosses and all, which I think is just absolute BS that anyone, well, it's not copyright, it's patented. Like, the fact that someone can do that is just a little retarded. It would be like patenting a rendering-ish engine and saying, well, no one else can make one. Because the problem with it is, in computers here, like, it's a lot closer to, what's the words I'm looking for? Books or stories and music, where you can have the exact same ideas and concepts, but they can be presented and designed so fundamentally different or built to have different parts and ideas. Like, it'd be like trying to patent the idea of if you walk behind an object in an isometric game, it creates a shadow or it makes the walls transparent so you can still see the walls but you can see your person through it, or stuff like that. Or start, like if System Shock 2 were to patent its RPG elements in a computer game, like that's just kind of bad because other people can take it and do it in a different way, when I think that it would be unique and novel. It's the equivalent of trying to like take specific chords. Like, you can have riffs and all used and played in a certain way, but if someone takes it and has the same progression for like 2 measures in a song, but they basically do that differently, you can't really do much about that because they're not stealing, and the fact that people are trying to do that with games is just really bad. And what's kind of happening to Monolith isn't like they're not doing too much now, and they're not the independent company they used to be, which is just a little sad. And the F.E.A.R sequels are not the best. F.E.A.R 2's gameplay kind of, from my understanding, just abandon everything to go copy the fad of, modern games at that time with Call of Duty and the other things, which is not where this shines. It does not shine in the fact that this plays like Return to Castle Wolfenstein, or is a derivative of that. It shines in the aspect that it does its own thing quite uniquely. No Delta Force operatives were armed in this production. I love that.
Senator, it's Genevieve Aristide. I just wanted to assure you that the origin situation has been resolved.
But so much for discretion.
It was unavoidable. There is some good news, however. The first prototype was a complete success.
That is just stupid to me. I get what they're doing for setting up for a sequel, but like, at the losses to that company, I feel like I'm watching the Resident Evil movies at this point. Like, it, again, first time I quite enjoyed it, but thinking back on it, like I've seen things and then I'm just like, no. But I overall really enjoyed Fear, and as I'm talking about it, I really wish its ideas and implementations were definitely upheld, and more than just the AI. Because while the AI is fun, like all the parts, the smaller things that go into it really help refine that experience, and I'd like to see that, brought back in more modern games than just spiritual successors to it. Like its base implementations are great, but I think a lot of people have forgotten about kind of anything else beyond the like particle effects, slow mo, and the AI, which wasn't. We talked about the AI, but that's kind of my take on it, and I really loved this game, so it was great to show off. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you, well, tomorrow, I guess.